สวัสดีครับผมพักยงมินเมื่อเร็วๆนี้ได้รับตำแหน่งเป็นเอกอัครราชทูตสาธารณรัฐเกาหลีประจำประเทศไทยยินดีที่ได้รู้จักทุกคนครับผมรู้สึกเป็นเกียรติอย่างมากอ่าที่ได้มีโอกาสมาทำงานที่ประเทศไทยที่ขึ้นชื่อว่าเป็นประเทศแห่งรอยยิ้มอันอบอุ่น I will with your indulgence I will continue in English Thailand stands out as one of the very few nations in Asia untouched by colonization. Thailand has a rich cultural heritage renowned for its exquisite cuisine and stunning natural landscape. And this unique blend of cultural treasures has positioned Thailand as an alluring tourist destination, offering an abundance of assets to enhance its soft power. Everybody wants to come to Thailand to see it, to feel it, and to be there. This is a great power base from which to enhance its soft power. During the short period since my assignment here last year, I have been fortunate to witness the passion for soft power within Thailand and the growing interest towards Korea in this regard. The National Soft Power Strategy Committee of Thailand has been established last year alongside the announcement of the Thailand Content Creative Agency. And Prime Minister Seta has envisioned one family, one soft power, emphasizing the importance of individual growth and training across various soft power domains for the nation's economic development. At this point, I would like to pose a critical question about my own country, Korea's case. Does the immense popularity and commercial success of Korea culture equate to Korea's soft power? While we humbly recognize the widespread appeal of Korean culture, transforming this cultural popularity into genuine soft power requires several key factors. First, I believe soft power has to be equipped with the moral fiber. Secondly, it should resonate with universal values. And thirdly, it should not be enforced, but instead be embraced. It's about acceptance. For example, a movie called Cult Movie? If you can only make a movie, what makes a certain movie a cult is the audience, not the filmmakers. At the risk of repetition, I would like to emphasize once again, soft power is not something to be imposed. It's something that should be received. Otherwise, it's not by definition soft power. If I say our standard is right, so you have to accept it, it's not by definition soft power. We have heard a very good explanation of the culture this morning. In my own interpretation, culture is the action made by space, because in different places you see different people, and humankind has a very strong instinctive urge to see different culture and experience the differences, the different taste of culture. So culture is the outcome of space. At the same time, mankind, ironically, has almost the same strong urge to communicate with other culture and to be like other people, to resemble. Mankind nowadays are more similar with each other than we have been 100 years ago. So it's a function of time. So what we call a civilization is a force of time. And we have both instincts. We want to be different. We want to preserve our own. At the same time, we want to change and we want to resemble others. The result of which was the famous globalization. So both forces work together in tension. And we have to strike the right balance because we cannot avoid it. Men lives, men and women lives in space and in time at the same time. So striking the right balance is the key to success of any culture, of any country, of any people. The paradox of Korea's today's trending is that Korea willingly absorbed influences from diverse sources like J-pop, hip-hop, Nordic composers, American choreographers, Asian sentiment, Hollywood production systems, and OTT platforms. By not insisting solely on Korean aspects and traditions, but by embracing global cultures and sentiments, the most unique Korean modern culture was born. The Korean government upholds the value of human rights and humanity in its diplomatic endeavors. And diplomatic policies must be rooted in the belief that every individual strives for equal happiness and everyone has the right to have more freedom. That, I believe, is not totally unrelated to the popularity of Korean culture as a part of its soft power. Here, I would like to mention a little about the government's role. Mostly, the government has to play a role to create an enabling environment for the private sector to fulfill its potential of its explosive creativity. Markets usually fail when copyrights are illegally copied. So it's where government intervention is very important. In a country where intellectual property rights are not respected and illegal copies are sold, it is very harmful for that very country where those illegal copies are sold for their own sake, not to mention the producers. So it is one of the fields where governments need to step in to protect intellectual property rights and copyrights. And I don't want the Korean popularity to stop at the pop culture scene. I have the current interest and fondness of Korean culture in Thailand and elsewhere will eventually evolve into a more serious interest in Korea, leading to development of Korean studies, including its literature and its history. I hope today's discussion on soft power and international cultural relations will serve as a valuable platform to share ideas and abundant food for thoughts. ขอบคุณครับ
And next, I would like also, well, it's my pleasure to introducing Mr. Wu Ju-Wu, Minister and Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy of China. Please welcome me, give him a big round of applause.
Thank you very much. Yes. Excellency Ambassador Park and colleagues from embassies and also distinguished guests. It's really a great pleasure for me to be invited to join today's event. And it's a good opportunity to share the perspectives of my side over the development of soft power and discuss how to jointly build international cultural relations that are more in line with the development of human society. I hope today's discussion can help to enhance our mutual understanding and lay a better foundation for our future cooperation. I would like to start with relations between China and Thailand, which set us a good example under the topic today. China and Thailand both belong to Asian civilizations, and our cultures have similarities while also being unique. 2,000 years of friendly exchanges have closely linked the two peoples in terms of blood and culture, and this makes our relations as close as one family, like we said in Chinese that 中泰一家亲 or in Thai, จีนไทยพี่น้องกัน Since the establishment of our diplomatic relations in 1975, the cultural exchanges and the cooperation between China and Thailand have become increasingly close and active, which witness the respective development of our cultural and economic growth. Vice versa, growth of our cultures as an important aspect of soft power also enriches the bilateral relations. In this process, the understanding and appreciation for each other's cultural and social development among our peoples have been continuously enhanced. Culture has become one of the strongest ties between our two nations. At present, the future of all countries are closely connected, as we are increasingly aware of important impact that the soft power has on international competitiveness and relations. Both China and Thailand pay more attention to the promotion of soft power as well as the enhancement of the international cultural influence in a peaceful and positive way. We see the development of China-Thailand soft power continues to empower the healthy development of bilateral cultural relations. And this is because we both embody the spirits of peace and cooperation, openness and inclusiveness, mutual learning and mutual benefit. This principle is fundamental for building soft power that adapts to international cultural relations, and it coincides with the connotation of the Global Civilization Initiative proposed by His Excellency President Xi Jinping. In this initiative of the Global Civilization Initiative put forward by President Xi Jinping has comprises the four main connotations. First, the respect for the diversity of civilizations. Countries need to uphold the principle of equality, mutual learning, dialogue, and inclusiveness among civilizations, and let cultural exchanges, transit, entrenchment, mutual learning, transit clashes, and coexistence, transcend feelings of superiority. Second, the common values of humanity, peace, development, equality, justice, democracy, and freedom are the common aspirations of all peoples. Countries need to keep an open mind in appreciating the perspectives of values by different civilizations and refrain from imposing their own values or models on others and from stoking ideological confrontation. Third, the importance of inheritance and innovation of civilizations. Countries need to fully harness and relevance of their stories and histories and cultures to the present times and push for creative transformation and innovative development of their fine traditional cultures. And fourth, the robust international people-to-people exchanges and cooperation. Countries need to explore the building of a global network for inter-civilization dialogue and corporations, enrich the contents of exchanges, and expand avenues of cooperation to promote mutual understanding and friendship among people of all countries and jointly advance progress of human civilization. The Global Civilization Initiative, illuminated by the Chinese traditional culture and wisdom, contributes a solution to promote exchanges and mutual learning among different human civilizations and provide a guideline for the development of international cultural relations for the greater good. Ladies and gentlemen, culture is an essential aspect of soft power. China attached great importance to building its soft power also. And since 2012, it has clearly stated building a cultural power and enhancing the country's soft powers of culture. The pivotal pins on the roadmap of the building the soft power of China's are as follows. First, strengthen and enhance cultural confidence. We believe that cultural confidence represents a fundamental and profound force that sustains the development of a country and a nation. Second, enhance the appeal of traditional culture in modern world. Chinese traditional culture is the most profound soft power of China, which has the fundamental spiritual gene as well as unique identity of the Chinese nation. We believe that efforts are needed to encourage creative transformation and development of fine traditional Chinese culture, which are the way to integrate the traditional into modern people's lives. And third, enhance competitiveness of cultural industry. The cultural industry is a most effective means to present the soft power both domestically and internationally. It is important to cultivate a number of dynamic enterprises who are able to promote global brands and products with international competitiveness, which will motivate people worldwide to learn more about our own culture. Fifth is to enhance global influence through cultural exchanges and cooperations. China has signed intergovernmental cultural cooperation agreements with many countries and also signed action plans to promote exchange and cooperation in different fields. Up to now, China has established 47 cultural centers overseas in different countries. The Chinese Cultural Center in Bangkok is the first and the largest one in Southeast Asia. It provides an important window for China to introduce Chinese culture to the Thai people and also people from other countries living in Bangkok and in Thailand. Apart from that, China are dedicated to work with different countries to organize influential events such as the Year of Culture and Tourism and to promote mutual influences. And by the way, this year is also a friendly exchange years of culture in terms of culture and humanity between China and ASEAN also. And lastly, I would like to touch upon the development of cultural industry in China. The creative industry is a driving force of economic growth. And in China, we usually address this as a cultural industry. It refers to the business activities of creating, producing, disseminating, displaying cultural products, and providing services with cultural and creativeness as the core content. In recent years, the Chinese government has made great efforts to improve related policies, and we also implement the cultural industry promotion law. And since China first included the cultural industry into our national economic and social development plan in the year of 2000, the development of cultural industry has gone through 22 years. And after the year of 2012, the cultural industry has accelerated into the new era, and its role in driving the economy has become stronger and stronger. And lastly, I would like to point out that both China and Thailand have unique advantages in accelerating the soft power by cultural exchanges and cooperation. Nowadays, the cultural industry of China and creative economy in Thailand are developing rapidly. Our exchanges and cooperations are active in many fields, such as film and animation, cultural tourism, and online games, and tourism, etc. In recent years, Thailand has elevated the development of soft power to a national strategy and encourage all parties to be stakeholders. We see new opportunities for our future cooperations. I hope that this dialogue can become a platform for in-depth communication, mutual understanding, and inspirations. In the future, we also look forward to more cooperation with relevant Chinese and Thai institutions to promote the development of our cultural relations with new vitality. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wu Jiu, for the informative keynote speech. I think there are compelling points that we can explore for the further discussion in the next session. And to conclude our series of speeches, please welcome Madame Paulomi Tripathi, Deputy Chief of Mission, to share their insights. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to give her a big round of applause.
Good morning, Swadika, and thank you very much to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for giving us this platform to discuss soft power and creative industry and how to promote a relationship between various countries and Thailand and to understand each other better. Thank you very much. And to begin with, I would just like to reflect upon what soft power means in diplomatic parlance. It refers to the ability to persuade others to do so without actually using force or coercion. It is actually increasing the attractiveness of the country or promoting better understanding of the country so that another partner country actually does the things that they both want rather than using coercion. It is a concept which is not very precise. It can mean many different things in many different contexts. In Indian context, we have been promoting our cultural exchanges with the rest of the world even before the idea of soft power or public diplomacy came into vogue. In 1943, even before India became independent, we started a think tank called Indian Council of World Affairs to understand the world issues better and also to to project what India thinks on the world affairs issues. Similarly, there were in 1950, after India got independent, the Indian Council for Cultural Relations was started under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which now has a network of cultural centers in different parts of the world. There is one in Thailand in Sukhumvit area, which actually gives classes of Indian culture and organizes many discourses. So I hope some of you would be familiar with that. And then there are various other mechanisms with some under the government patronage, but also a lot outside the government patronage. The projection of Indian culture and Indian ethos, Indian way of life actually has happened very organically, even before the government stepped in. For example, Indian cinema. A lot of people think that Bollywood is Indian cinema. Bollywood is actually the film industry which is based in Mumbai and which produces Hindi films. India has many languages. There are more films made outside Bollywood in India in any given year than it is made in Bollywood. In totality, Indian film industry is probably it is the largest probably in terms of the number of films made, and these are mostly private affairs. It's not state driven. Similarly, for example, even before India got to the UN and got the International Day of Yoga recognized by the UN, yoga was immensely popular outside India in many different parts of the world. Same is the story with Indian classical music. So, this conversation between India and the world has been continuing. We cannot say whether this has continued to get a particular foreign policy outcome or it has happened organically. But to my understanding, most of it has happened organically, and that has shaped the perception of the world about India. And just to continue, as looking ahead in the future, how do we see our future? What we consider today as a job in an industry with automation, with industrial revolution, probably those are not going to be the jobs that our children would have. The creative content must go up. Creativity is the key in every production process, probably, because the refresh time of any trend today is very high. So, therefore, I think going ahead, all of us need to learn from each other as to how to encourage the next generation, the education system to be encouraging more creativity, add more creative content. His Excellency Ambassador has spoken about having an IPR regime that promotes creativity. I could not agree more with him on that, and the role that the governments have to play in having that kind of a regime is also needs to be kept in mind. And with these initial thoughts, I think I will stop here and then take some of the questions that you may have. Thank you very much.
Okay, in this session, we will delve deeper into the themes and topics regarding the promotion of ecosystem for advancing soft power in international cultural relations. Each panelist will have the opportunity to discuss and respond to these points, fostering a dynamic and engaging dialogue. So let's begin our Q&A session. And the questions have been pre-shared with our panelists. So we will have the first question. I will recite it. Okay, so the first question is, in your view, what are the key factors contributing to your country's success in promoting creative industries? Particularly, it's actually a little bit kind of long question, particularly entertainment industry, fashion and design industry, and cultural related products such as cuisine and literature. So please also address the role of the government, the public-private partnership, and academic institutions in supporting the development of these industries. Yes. Miss, may I have the honor to, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for this question. And it's indeed a very interesting question. And I must tell, as I was referring to earlier, that these pursuits in India are actually not very much state driven. They are very people driven. They are very public sector driven when it comes to when we talk about cinema, when we talk about culture in terms of performing arts, or there is state patronage in many of these areas, but there is vast cultural industry that exists in India, and that probably has its origin in India's democratic ethos, has its origin in India's ability to promote creativity, ability to give space to very diverse group of people to express themselves culturally through the medium of their choice. I think India's democratic ethos, I would say, is the first thing that promoted India's cultural industry. Secondly, yes, government has a role. They have provided an enabling platform for these industries to function and to take their products globally. We were talking about Indian cinema. Indian cinema is commercially extremely successful. Having said that, Indian cinema does not win too many Oscars, but yet it is very popular well across the globe. Okay, so it is also a question of perception and whether we chase one kind of recognition from outside world, or we let it grow the way the way the people perceive it. Okay, so in many developing parts of the world, Indian cinema, Indian content is very popular without any intervention from Indian state or any other state. It's the people's choice that they have made to embrace Indian culture in those areas. For example, even Indian fashion industry, Indian classical music industry, in different parts of the world, wherever we have Indian cultural center, people come on their own volition to seek classes, to seek understanding of Indian culture. I think this freedom of choice, that and democratizing the process is the thing that makes Indian culture tick.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting when you mentioned that all of this related to soft power in India, it's not state driven. So could you elaborate on that? Like, does it mean that Indian communities and private sectors, they're kind of actually very strong from the grassroots up to all of those big companies? So how does it happen?
So, yes, these are actually part of our DNA. This is how India is. Having said that, the state is not absent. We have several cultural exchange programs. We have something called the ITEC program, the Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program, which is probably one of the world's largest institutionalized capacity building program that we instituted in 1964. There are about 200 million professionals who have been trained so far under this program in from 170 odd countries. So it is all totally funded by the state. But what I am trying to also emphasize, another point, is that when an officer or a professional from a country comes to India to learn expertise in a particular area, it's not just he or she learns about India, it's about the Indian institution learns about the culture of the person who is coming to India. So when we receive foreign students, when we receive foreign tourists, it also gives us the opportunity to understand the culture better. For example, when we instituted ICCR, the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, which comes under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it the motto is to promote a cultural dialogue between India and the world, so that the world understands India better and India also understands the world better. So ICCR also does events and performances of foreign troops in India, so that Indian people understand, they are more aware about what's happening outside India, outside the country. So state has a role in it, but it also a lot is spontaneous, organic, people driven.
Thank you very much. To provide a broader perspective, now that we are kind of focused on the entertainment industry and whether it's state-driven or not, and whether it's about mutual understanding and learning between the, the local people and also the international participants. So, may I ask Ms. Chang to please share your insights and thoughts on this?
Yes. Thank you, Doctor, and Your Excellency is very happy to share with you some experiences in terms of China's cultural industries. Actually, there are multiple factors that contributes to the fostering and also growth of the industry. In my opinion, I think the very first foundation for the industry to grow is the economic growth. So because we see the creative industry or the cultural industry as not only part of the soft power aspect of soft power, but also driving force for economy, and it responds actually to the increasing demand and needs of the people who are pursuing and asking for more products in the market to to satisfy themselves with a better life. And that is scenario we are developing our cultural industry. This first I would like to say. And secondly, I think, as DCM mentioned, that it's quite important for the government to play a leading role to provide and guarantee a favorable environment in terms of policy, in terms of partnership between different sectors. Because if we don't have the strong support from the policy, from the high level government, the whole society cannot become dynamic. And the Chinese government has realized this from many years ago. And we also start to learn from the world, like we start to learn from the UK, from the Korea, from Japan, that the countries who are quite experienced in promoting their soft power by developing cultural industry. So we have conducted and implemented several policies that support all the sectors to develop, including not only the public, but also the private sectors. Also in the process, there are a lot of academic institutions who started to focus on the development and importance of cultural industries. So they also contributed a lot as a think tank to the government that how to make a better policy to support industry and how to encourage all the people in sectors to get involved. Thirdly, I think it is quite important to talk about the creativity of people. And I agree that it depends on whether you have a very good education system that encourage the creativity of the talents. Actually, I think in terms of Thailand, in our point of view, I think we all believe that Thailand is a country has a lot of talents who are creative, with great creativity. So I think that is a very good base. If the educational system can focus and support the more talents to grow, I think they will provide the country's industry with the core competitiveness. And also, I think it's quite important to encourage the private sectors to grow naturally and organically themselves. It's better to keep a distance from the government and the private sectors. So if you provide the right policies, the environment, and you try to increase the demand of the people and also a better market environment, I think all the private sectors will become very vibrant and dynamic. And they will try their best to develop all the products that can be relevant to the demand of not only
not only domestic, but also for the international citizens. And that is quite important. And lastly, I think it's quite important for us to develop the industry in the digital era, because now we're in a digital era, and I think the rapid growth of our industry is also due to the transformation of digitalization. Now we may be aware there are quite a lot of Chinese companies, quite famous, like Tencent, like iQIYI, like the China Literature. They're all online digital enterprises, and they use the medium of digital technology to present their products and to cater for those global citizens. So I think it's quite important for us to think and conduct our industry in the digitalization transformation.
Thank you very much. I think one point it's very interesting that China is say positioning cultural industry as a driving force for economy, right? And then you said that for Chinese people, this is equals to better life. Could you elaborate on that? Like how does say cultural industry or what kind of cultural policy is being implemented in order to communicate that kind, of message that this is equal to a better life for the local people?
When you know that in China, when we are conducting our economic and social development, we always have the 5-year plan, and the latest 5-year plan is the 14th. And in the 5-year plan, we will map out that what are the main focus of our development and economic growth. And when we were planning this, we see that the demand of the people who would like to have a better life, including they would like to go into the museums more, and they would like to enjoy more concerts, to have more movies to watch. So we see that there is a great demand. So it is the responsibility of the country to provide environment that can help all the sectors to provide such kind of services and products to the people. So that is that is the base, I think, for us to develop our policy to encourage this.
Okay. Another interesting point from China is like it seems that you have like a good balance between like a top-down and bottom-up kind of approaches in promoting soft power. So top-down means like the cultural policy, right? And then maybe the bottom-up that where the say private sectors and maybe even the grassroots communities are working together, right? In promoting the soft power and creating this so-called like better life. Could you give us more examples or elaborate on the points? And perhaps after that, I would like to ask Ms. Tripathi for additional information. Comments on this.
Yes, actually, we believe that in terms of soft power, it is not only the entertainment industry,
right,
but also the whole attractiveness and appeal of the culture. So I would like to talk a little about the cultural heritage. That it is happy to learn that Thailand has enlisted Songkran Festival as the intangible cultural heritage in the world, in the UNESCO. And we started this undertakings many years ago as well. And China has put a lot of effort to enlighten society, to encourage all the people to get involved in the protection of the ICH, the intangible cultural heritage. And we work among the governments, all the universities, and all the practitioners of intangible cultural heritage, as well as private sectors, to promote the awareness among the public that how important it is in terms of the inheritance of our cultural heritage, and also the importance to enhance our cultural identity. And another thing is that we encourage all the private sectors to work with all the practitioners to make more products that can get in line with modern life, which means we would like to help all the cultural heritage to become alive in the modern life. If people see them not only as outdated, but up to the digital era, people will find it interesting to enjoy to be part of the protector and of the intangible cultural heritage. For example, we have the live streaming sales. It is quite popular in China, and there are quite a lot of enterprises that work with practitioners, and they have produced a lot of products that is quite chic. So a lot of people really want to buy them. So by consuming all the products, people are involved in the protection of our cultural heritage, and it also generates revenues for those who need money to keep practicing. So I think that is a very good cycle of the economic growth as well as protection of the cultural heritage. And that example of what we think it is important to see the soft power not in a way of entertainment, but also you have to find a connection of the cultural heritage and the modern life.
Very well. So we could say that for China, it's both like say state driven and also locally driven, right? And everything kind of stems from not only from the state policy but also the say heritage knowledge of the local communities, right? Yes. So Ms. Tripathi.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts again. Couldn't agree more with my colleague from China that economic development indeed plays a role, and it's a role where people with a certain level of income would like to consume products which are high on creative content, and that in turn encourages creativity. And one factor that plays a pivotal role is the transformative digital technologies that are there in India as well as in different other parts of the world, and the e-commerce platforms that have played for the producers who were earlier finding it difficult to market their products. They are now able to market their products from the grassroots level. There are no middlemen in between, and that has really economically enriched them. Government policies have helped, like we have started this one district, one product, where we promote one exclusive artisanal product from one district of India, which is like a Thailand's OTOP program, where we showcase those products, and that has really encouraged the artisans who are engaged in the creative craft, not just fashion, but also various other crafts like handicrafts and art objects, even domestic daily life, crockeries, etc. So that has really helped the artisans as well as given people the possibility to consume products which are based in our cultural heritage. So and digital technology has got a huge role to play in bringing those products. And increasingly what we see as a trend is that there is a lot of co-creation, in the sense that since it doesn't require the consumer and the producer to sit together in person, it can be done online. So it is the consumer who also gives the input to create a product the way he or she wants it. And it is the process of co-creation that creates new opportunities for the artisans to develop new products. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There's another point that I would like to say explore further, which is I think it's very important, which is education, because both of our panelists have mentioned education as a very important. So could you share a bit more of how say the government or maybe the educational policies, how do they make schools or universities to be say the incubator for creativity instead of killing it? As like people kind of say that when people go to educate for a certain kind of education, everybody becomes the same, and then you don't have you instead of kind of say nourish the creativity that you have as a young child, and growing up into an adult, everything is gone. So how do you do that in your country? How to make school be the incubator of this vibrant creativity. Yes. Should I? Yes, please.
Thank you for the question and a very relevant question. From the government point of view, we have launched a new education policy where encouraging and promoting creativity and creative content in education has been given a lot of emphasis. There are actually incubators in schools which promotes creativity. For example, in India, globally is known as for our ability to design softwares, etc. So that is one of the areas that we are increasingly seeing that children are being encouraged to learn coding, to learn software development, and to learn do it creatively very much from the school itself. And in the software sector, in the gaming sector, in the animation sector, which are probably the future emerging sectors in IT, there is a lot of content creation which is global. So it is not just for one culture that you are creating content, you are creating content for a global audience. So it is very important to know understand the world, and also the world to understand you, to create content that is relevant, and also to see that the trends change really fast. Now a trend comes and it goes away, so to have creative content high and to churn out new content at a very fast rate is very important, and skilling therefore is important. We do have an extensive skill development program because India has a young population, a domestic demographic, we call it demographic dividend, because there are a lot of young people who will come into the workforce. So it is the government's responsibility at various level, both at the state, at the center level, to train our people to be ready for the jobs that they are awaiting them. There is a lot of skilling, reskilling, and upskilling. Skilling is not an upfront once in a lifetime process. It is a continuous process, and there is a lot of understanding in that. And also I would just like to mention this, that there is a lot of opportunity to harness the capability of women, which in a traditional production system, there are difficulties in a traditional society, but when it comes to a digital platform, it is easier to women to access the resources that they need to express themselves creatively and also to market their products. So we have seen it is easier to actually address the gender divide, and reach women entrepreneurs and women businessmen and women creators to give their products a platform. Thank you.
Ms. Sang, could you please weigh in, adding on your comments on this particular topic too? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It is quite interesting question. And I think when we're talking about education, there are two kind of education we can focus on. First is the school education, and second is the public education. For the school education in China, we realized and started to bring the cultural courses based on the traditional culture to school into classes. So apart from the academic study, all the students will also take courses and classes to learn more and appreciate more about their traditional culture and history. Because we believe that when a country is developing its cultural industries or to enhance the soft power, it is always your cultural identity and your traditional culture that will stand you out and become your competitiveness when you're standing on the global platform. So it is important for all the young people, young generation, to realize and enhance their cultural identity as well. This is the first thing. I think another thing is the public education. It involves the support and efforts and also the growth of all the public sectors, including the museums, including all the cultural institutions, like scientific institutions, like the also performing arts institutions, because nowadays there are a big number of museums in China, and almost you can see a lot of leading museums in the major cities, as well as small medium museums and also private museums in different provinces in China. And all the museums, the function have already changed from only a place to collect all the objects, but also to be an open school for all the people and society. So it is a trend for the school to work with the museum to bring their class and students into the cultural institutions. So students will take classes in the museums to see an exhibition and to even to enjoy a performance. Through that experience, all the students will get the more education in a bigger picture. So also they can be nourished by more resources of what the society and the cultural industry has to offer. And so through that process, I think it plays an important role to inject the creativity of the young generation. And now a lot of young people, they enjoy their cultural life apart from only the academic life. And that is quite important. I think that is the very key factor for us to encourage the talents.
Thank you very much. Before we move on to our next question, I actually would like to ask an additional question regarding this relating to education. So, like say in Thailand, younger generations, some of the younger generations are not really interested in this cultural heritage or knowledge. So I wonder, like, could you share experiences and the know-how? Like, how do you say instill the values, of the traditional knowledge among the younger generations? Like during the keynote speeches, we see that in fact all of the ambassador and esteemed representative talked about finding a balance between like you have to be unique, but also you have to communicate to the this shared universal value. So how do we do that?
Thank you very much. And very relevant question. I have two teenage boys at home. So you ask me uh, about younger generation. I think I will speak first as a mother, then as a diplomat. No, it is a challenge for I think every society, because they consume so much content which comes from any part of the world, because they are all digitally linked. But I think the schools have a very important role to play. And what we see in India uh, is that there is a lot of effort by the school ecosystem and also the ecosystem outside school, both under government as well as in the private sector, to impart knowledge of India's uh, cultural heritage, be it music, be it dance, be it arts, be it crafts. These are very much there. And while we once in a while complain that our children are quote unquote too globalized, but actually I personally see that they are actually quite rooted in their values, because we are making indeed conscious efforts through our school systems, college systems, and having a network of cultural centers of various kinds within India. It is very important to actually modernize our own art forms. Say, for example, traditional dance forms can actually be used to give a representation of modern day problems, be it environment, be it a natural calamity or war, and those kinds of contents have actually attracted people, attracted younger generation. Cinema is a great medium that actually imparts a lot of traditional values and consciousness about one's roots and cultures. That happens in India. I've spoke earlier about the regional cinema, the cinema that is there not just in one language, which is Hindi, which is the official language, but also India has several other languages, and we have music industry, we have cinema industry, and that really keeps our younger generation very much rooted to our cultural heritage. It gives us a continuity. We change, but we change from where we started.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very nice. Miss Chang? Yes.
Thank you. In fact, it is already a phenomenon that in China, the traditional culture heritage has already become a new trend among the young generation. That is because the transformation of digitalization of the heritage. As I mentioned earlier, that we encourage all the public sectors to work with the private enterprises to cooperate with each other and to integrate the cultural heritage into the digital life. So when you can see a lot of products, including like online games, like our films, like the concerts, like all the also the web novels, the essence and appearance of those products are all not only those who you cannot tell which country it is from, but you can definitely tell is the Chinese products because it has strong elements of our traditional culture. And that is already the main content of what our cultural industry has to offer to the audiences, to the people. So now it is the trend and for the young people to enjoy those kind of products. And for example, the Palace Museum, or you maybe you know it by knowing it as the Forbidden City. It is a very world famous museum in China. And the museum has been working with a lot of digital enterprises like Tencent, like some other media, online media as well, to promote its collections, to promote the way of life among young generations and also on the mass media. And people think, oh, it is really, really enjoyable to watch all the videos and to watch all the content that they offer. And gradually, people think it is the traditional China chic. So yeah, we've already talking about this China chic. It's already become a phenomenon in our society. So the young people, when you go into like some tourism destination, you can see a lot of young people dressed up in a traditional dress to take pictures to enjoy their trip. So they think it is cool. And also when you log on the website, very famous website called Bilibili in China, the website is actually a community for all the young generations. You have to pass an exam to be to be a member of the community. And but on the website, on the website, all the uppers, we call uppers, they will upload their own content, and you will see a growing number of content that that shows the talents of the young people playing traditional music instruments, like doing traditional dance, and also to showcase their talents in preserving the traditional culture. So they are proud of it. So I think it's quite important to build up an environment for the young people to be proud of their own traditional culture. But you have to make sure that the medium you're using to educate the people shall be modern and digitalized. So that is important way for people to absorb it. Otherwise, we'll be out of date.
So digitalization would be very, very important to promote the soft power among younger generations, right? Yes. Okay. I think this leads us nicely into our next area of for discussion. We already discussed like policy and measures. Maybe now we could turn our topics into the challenges and obstacles. Could you please share some of the, say, main challenges when the country is trying to promote soft power, say within the countries, and also how do you communicate to the, say, the Chinese people and also internationally. Yes. So can I please go with Ms. Chang first?
Of course, there are always challenges for every country, for every aspect of our industries. And it is also true with the development of cultural industry. For example, you have the policy and you have all the enterprises, but it is not easy for all the enterprises or sectors to get the funding, to get the financial support. So now, after realize this, the government have conducted several regulations and to start to talk with the banks. For example, the Ministry of Culture and Tourism worked with 10 leading banks to help build up a bridge and connection between the banks and all private sectors, and to encourage them to provide favorable conditions for the private sectors to get financial funding. So which is quite essential and important for them to start up. Because you know that we do not only have the big companies, but also there are a huge number of small and medium companies, which are the key elements in the industry. So we need them to keep keep the market vibrant and dynamic. So quite important to help those small and medium enterprises as well. And also, secondly, that for a lot of enterprises, they may not have the view of the global market, and they might be having some difficulties in communicating with other countries, companies, or sectors to work with them. So the government also played a role of building a platform to help to bring all the interested companies to go overseas, and by providing the platform, we will encourage them to meet with their counterparts in other countries. For example, when I was working in our country, we've been working closely with Japan and Korea, and we hold cultural industry seminars and also expos with each other, and also not only bilateral but also like trilateral. So on that platform, all the ministries of all the three countries will bring all the companies together. They will discuss their practices on this international platform, and also we will have a business match service to help those companies to see whether they can be cooperating with each other, promote each other's products in each other's market. So it is important for the government to help those sectors to step onto a more globalized level platform, for them to have a better view and also a better experience of how to work with international partners. So the international partnership building is also the part that we think we should help those sectors as well. And of course, there are some unseen and unexpected obstacles as well, like the epidemic, the COVID-19. Yes, so we shall also support them to go through the difficult times and the hardship, because the whole global economy is not going on a straight line. It is ups and downs. So when there are difficulties in the global market, you need to provide some favorable policy, like to cut the taxes, like to stabilize the employment, and also some maybe some funding support for those to survive, for those potential to survive. So I think it is also the responsibility of the government to help those potential companies to stay alive and gone through the hardship.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chang. Let's now turn to Ms. Tripathi. So could you share with us some of the things that you see as the greatest challenges and maybe the remedies?
These are not, I wouldn't say that these are challenges, but I think these would come as we evolve. as a society, and as an economy. So, one thing is definitely access to funding, because these sectors are dominated by very small enterprises. And access to funding is always an issue, especially the creative industries. They need the kind of funding in terms of timing. Not always the conventional kind of funding works for them. You need to have a customized set of funders for them who understand their requirements and funds them accordingly. So I think that is very important, and governments do have a role to play, and increasingly we are realizing this and taking steps in that regard. The other area I have earlier also emphasized is to have the right kind of legal environment, which is a responsibility of the state to actually promote innovation while at the same time protect the rights, the intellectual property rights. And it is very important to protect the patents that come out of the smallest enterprises, because they are not always aware of the legal setup. It is important to keep the legal processes simpler and the cost of compliance low, because these are small enterprises. They cannot afford to have compliance if the cost is very high. So these are the areas that we need to be very, very mindful of as we go along. Having said that, India has one of the most vibrant startup ecosystems, and we do have over 100 unicorns, which is like $1 billion worth of uh, startup in any given sector, be it high technology to environment, to green energy, to circular economy. I mean, a lot of very, very different areas where it is there. But having said that, these are the areas that we need to focus on as we go along. Finance, and from a state's point of view, finance, skilling, and probably the legal environment. These are the three things that I would list.
Thank you very much for sharing. It seems that we need like a system that could help to could help the soft power to grow not only organically but also sustainably, right? And then it needs help with the coordination from the state and also say the top-down approach and also bottom-up approach too, right? As we approached the end of our session, let's have one final question. I would like to invite each panelist to offer a brief closing remark. Anything you would like to add, like say if in case of perhaps lessons learned, things you would like to share with Thailand, if they would like to successfully and sustainably organically promote the soft power of the country. Ms. Chang.
Thank you, Doctor. I think thank you. I think it's a good opportunity for us to be part of today's academic session. And when we received invitation, we think it is important to be here because we believe that Thailand is an amazing country that has great global appeal, not only for its culture, but also for its natural resources. And as Chinese people, we always love to learn more about Thai culture, to learn more about Thai creativities. So actually, as a Thai cultures lover, I'm really confident that Thailand has the great potential to fulfill your ambition to promote the soft power in the global platform, because Thailand's culture is very unique, and you're a very open country that embrace all the cultures together. So it is important to be staying open and to keep your identity as well as absorbing all the fine parts of other cultures as well. So for the near future, I do hope that Thailand and China could have more dialogue in terms of self-power building as well as our cultural industries, because there are a lot that we can learn from each other. And as I mentioned, that in China, we also have quite a lot of resources, which in terms of not only the experts from academic institutions, but also from the private sectors and public sectors who are interested in come and visit Thailand to see Thailand more and to bring their perspectives from China as well. And I know that Thailand has an agency called Creative Economy Agency. Actually, our embassy has been working with them since many years ago. And we've been working with them to promote the dialogue between, for example, designers of both countries and to build up a platform for people who are practicing their creativity in our respective industry to have a better understanding of each other. So for the next step, we do hope we can work more together and to invite more Thai talents to visit China, and we can invite more people to visit Thailand. Through that, we can work together to promote our soft power together.
Thank you very much. Ms. Tripati, can we hear your closing remarks, final
Thank you.
thoughts?
Thank you so much. India and Thailand are civilizational neighbors. Our civilizational connect is many centuries old, and I have been in Thailand for about 4 months, and I'm quite amazed by seeing the cultural connect that both India and Thailand had enjoyed over the centuries, be it the names of the places, be it the Thai silk that we all cherish, and how it is actually, it's a continuation of how we see textile in India, and then how we see Thai textiles. It is all part of a larger continuum. It looks like there is a lot of similarity. It bears the testimony of how we exchanged and how we were influenced by each other's soft power. Today, Thailand is one of the most cherished destinations for Indian visitors. You receive about I was told this year it was 1.6 million Indians visited Thailand. So hopefully next year more people from India will come and more Thai people from will visit India, especially there is a lot of attraction for religious reasons. There are so many sites of associated with Lord Buddha's life in India, and there is a lot of interest. And hopefully now that the pandemic is over, more and more people could visit India. So that will further strengthen our millennia-old cultural ties and cultural exchanges. And we very much look forward to working with you to keep not just this generation, but our younger generations very much rooted in this cultural connect that we have enjoyed for so many centuries. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the closing remarks. I personally find the closing remarks from both of you very touching and very inspiring and also insightful. And it's good to know that, I mean, Thailand is not alone. We have friends, right? And then we can work on this together, because it's not only about communicating who we are, but also learning from each other. And we can learn a lot from, India and also China too. Let's now turn to the floor and see if anyone would like to have comments or any questions on the floor. From the floor, anybody? ไม่ทราบมีใครอยากจะถามคำถามอะไรไหมคะหรือว่ามีคอมเมนต์อะไรไหมคะ Okay, I think we can, yeah, it's about time. So okay, so ladies and gentlemen, as we draw to the this panel discussion to a close, I would like to take a moment to extend our heartfelt thanks to all the esteemed ambassador and representatives for their invaluable contributions today. Your insights and perspectives have not only enriched our understanding, but have also fostered a deeper appreciation for the complexities and nuances of international diplomacy. To all of to the ambassador and esteemed members of the panel, your willingness to share your expertise and engage in this vital dialogue is greatly appreciated. The knowledge and experiences you have imparted today resonate with the ethos of collaborative understanding and mutual respect that is essential in our global community. And on behalf of the organizing committee and all of those present, Thank you once again for your esteemed presence and for making this event not only possible, but also a remarkable success. We have a lot to learn from you. We look forward to future opportunities to convene and continue these important conversations. And so we wish everyone a wonderful afternoon, and we hope to cross paths again in our shared journey towards fostering stronger international relations and understanding. So thank you very much. Please have a big round of applause for our panelists. Thank you.
ขอบคุณมากๆนะคะเป็นเซสชันที่สุดยอดมากเลยเราได้เห็นทั้งความเชื่อมโยงนะคะระหว่างต่างประเทศว่าเขามีมุมมองยังไงกับโลกในปัจจุบันนะคะรวมถึงมุมมองของโดยเฉพาะประเทศอินเดียประเทศจีนที่มีกับไทยนะคะแล้วก็มองว่าประเทศไทยจะมีความสามารถยังไงต่อไปนะคะ